Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into Flutter and its language, Dart. So if you've ever dreamed of building a beautiful app that works on any screen, all from one codebase, but you felt totally lost on where to even start, well, you are in the perfect spot. Let's get right into it. Yeah, jumping into something new like this can feel, well, a little overwhelming, right? There are all these new terms, new ways of structuring things, and it's a completely different way of thinking. But don't you worry, we're going to give you a super clear foundation, a kind of mental map to help you make sense of it all.
So to make this as simple as possible, we're going to lean on one single analogy for this entire explainer. Ready? Building a Flutter app is just like building with digital Legos. Seriously, every concept we touch on is going to tie back to this idea, giving you a powerful way to picture what's really going on.
All right, Section 1, the blueprint. Before we even touch a single Lego brick, we have to understand the instructions. And in Flutter, that instruction manual is its core philosophy for building user interfaces, or UIs. And believe me, this is a total game changer. See, instead of writing a bunch of tedious step-by-step commands on how to draw a button and then how to change it later, you just declare what you want. You say, hey Flutter, I want a blue button right here that says Submit. That's it. If something needs to change, you just describe the new state, and Flutter handles all the messy work of figuring out how to get there. It frees you up to focus on your actual idea. Section 2, opening the box. Okay, with the blueprint fresh in our minds, it is time to crack open our Lego set. Let's take a peek at what you're going to find inside pretty much every single Flutter project. First thing you'll see are the imports. Just think of these as grabbing the specific boxes of Legos you need for your creation. Simple. Next up is the main function. This is your big green base plate. It's the absolute starting point for everything. And right inside main, you'll find Run App Fun. This is your very first instruction, basically telling the system, hey, take my main Lego creation and stick it on the board so we can see it. Section 3, understanding your bricks. Okay. Now we get to the fun part, the actual Lego bricks themselves. If you take only one single thing away from this whole explainer, please make it this one incredibly simple rule.
It is the one idea that rules them all in the Flutter universe, and that idea is
everything is a widget. So what on earth does that mean? It means that button on the screen, that's a widget. The text label on that button, that's another widget. The empty space around the button that gives it some breathing room, you guessed it, that's a widget too. Even the thing that centers your button in the middle of the screen is just a widget holding another widget. Widgets are the literal atoms of your application. So what is a widget, technically speaking? Under the hood, it's just a Dart class. And you can think of a class as just a blueprint for something. So the text widget is the blueprint for text. And you use that blueprint to create all the actual text you see on the screen, each one maybe with different words or a different color.
Now, your Lego bricks, they come in two main flavors. First, you've got a stateless widget. Think of this one like a printed sign. Once it's made, it's done. It can't change, it's immutable. But then you have a stateful widget, which is more like a digital counter. It can hold on to some internal data, we call this state, and that data can change, which allows it to redraw itself with new information. Getting the difference between these two is absolutely crucial for building anything interactive.
Section 4, assembling your creation. Okay, we've got our blueprint, we've got our bricks. So how do we actually snap them together to build something that looks cool?
Now, if you're coming from a web development background, listen up, because this part's important. You're probably used to having separate files for everything, right? HTML for the structure, CSS for the style. Well, Flutter does this on purpose. It combines the layout and the styling right there in your Dart code. It might feel a little weird at first, but the whole goal is to keep everything that's related to one component all in one single tidy place.
So how do you position your bricks? Well, with more bricks, of course. Some of them are basically invisible. Flutter has a whole set of layout widgets whose only job is to control where other widgets go. You've got row and column to line things up horizontally or vertically. Center, well, that does exactly what you think it does. And container is like this super versatile, powerful box you can use for all kinds of styling and spacing. You use these to build the invisible skeleton of your app.
And this right here, this shows the real magic of Flutter, composability.
You start with something really simple, like a text widget. Then, to give it some space, you wrap it inside a padding widget. Want to center that whole thing? You just wrap all of that in a center widget. You just keep nesting simple widgets inside of each other to build really complex UIs. This whole structure, that's what developers call the widget tree.
Section 5. Organizing the spare parts. Okay, so our Lego creation looks great, but to actually do anything useful, it needs information. It needs to keep track of stuff. And that's where your app's data comes in, organized using some of Dart's basic tools.
You'll mostly be using 3 main types. A list is pretty much what it sounds like, an ordered list of items like a to-do list. A set is kind of similar, but the key difference is that every single item inside it has to be unique. And then you've got a map, which is a collection of key value pairs, kind of like a dictionary. It's perfect for storing structured info, like a user's profile with a name and an age.
So let's do a super quick recap of the big ideas. First, think declaratively. Just describe the UI you want. Second, never ever forget that core mantra. Everything is a widget. They're your Lego bricks for literally everything. Third, know the difference between a static sign, which is a stateless widget, and a dynamic counter, which is a stateful one. Fourth, you build your app through composability, nesting those simple widgets together. And finally, use the right tools, lists, sets, and maps to organize all your information.
And there you have it, the fundamental ideas, the mental models you need for your Flutter journey. You've got the blueprint, you've got the bricks, so the only real question left is, what are you going to build first? Thanks for watching.